So today I think about making a Half-Life weapon tier list, which I sort of do understand as something strange in my opinion, but yeah, I think about making this tier list and deciding to do it for the reasons that I think about, which are deciding to make more tier list videos because I think I don't have enough already. But yeah, that's how tier lists do. You just make them all, record your opinions on your thinking, and then post on YouTube. That's sort of how it goes. So this is gonna be the Half-Life weapon tier list this time. So I've done enough with the Phasmophobia tier list. I've done probably most of the Team Fortress tier list videos. So of course I still have like 7 more of the classes to do. But we'll take a break from that and then focus on other games like Half-Life right now. So here are all the different weapons. One reminder is that I am going to do the weapons in order by the weapon slot that they're in. So we'll start from Crowbar all the way down to the Snarks. But other than that, we'll get this out of the road. So first, we obviously have the Crowbar. Of course, this is the first weapon you get, and you basically use this to break stuff in your path. It's sort of easy to use, and of course, there's better weapons than this, so why would you just use the crowbar as a main weapon? It wouldn't be necessary. So, now we're going to put it in C tier. I wouldn't know how, but I'm fine with it. But next we got the 9mm pistol, which here is shown as the Glock 17. But, of course, if you use the HD models like me, you will see it as... So if we take a look... Okay, unfortunately there's no info. But yeah, I'll explain this. If you do use HD models, you'll see the Glock as the Beretta pistol. In particular, the 92FS Beretta. But of course, they both behave sort of the same, just, different models. But it is set as the Glock 17 in the original model, so that's what I'll consider it. But this is a standard sidearm for the Black Mesa security guards. And this has 2 ways of fire. So first, you do fire just like how it's supposed to fire, but you can also shoot full auto with the right mouse button, even though it's not really meant to fire full auto. Maybe Black Mesa decided to have a selector switch or something. But yeah, weird technology always happens. Or I suppose they could have used the Glock 18. Because, yeah, that does have a selector switch, if I'm correct. And of course, this does do minimal damage, so it's mainly useful on the head grabs or hound eyes. But other than that, this isn't going to be useful, but it might be helpful for early game. So, I'll put this in B tier. And also, one more note before we continue. I want to point out that I haven't completely finished Half-Life 1 yet, so I don't necessarily know every weapon. So I'll at least get info I can from other tier lists and other people. But I haven't done any research, so I'm not gonna quite handle this well. So we'll just move on. But yeah, next we got the 357 Magnum, which is the Colt Python Magnum, if I'm correct. So this is sort of a powered up version of the Glock, except it does only hold less ammo. But of course, honestly, it does more damage, so that's honestly why you need less ammo. So yeah, if you need more damage but need more ammo, then you're not sure how to play. I mean, yeah, the Magnum is a good example of doing more damage with a trade-off. But anyway, this is sort of a useful sidearm if you don't want to use the Beretta or Glock, whatever. Of course, I know some people do use HD models, but some people don't. So I won't blame them. But yeah, Magnum is kind of useful. It does more damage, so I would kind of use this. So I'll bump it up to about A tier. Sort of useful. Now next we got the SMG, in particular MP5, which I think is a good weapon. I'll go over. Whoops, that's. Should have clicked the backspace. But yeah, if we take a look at the strategy wiki, you'll see that the Heckler Koch MP5, also known as submachine gun or SMG, assault rifle, or the combat rifle, is rapid fire weapon that uses 9mm ammunition, especially the HD model, but of course HD models are kind of what I would choose, so that's to be expected. And it's a good weapon if you don't know what in the situation ahead is. So this weapon does do a lot of damage. It holds 50 rounds, even though I think the real life version can only hold like 25 or 30 rounds. I'm not sure. Though I do have made some progress on Black Mesa, and in that game the MP5 does hold only 30 rounds, which I guess is more accurate, but that's something I would not really like, because yeah, MP5 is like the most powerful weapon in like any circumstance. Well, almost any circumstance, because there are some times when it doesn't work properly, but other than that, this is kind of useful. Also, you can fire grenades, so that is to be expected. And of course, this has a lot of reserve ammo for 9mm ammo. So, without a doubt, I'm going to put the MP5 SD3 in the S tier. I'm really certain it is the best. But moving on, we got the Spaz 12, which is the shotgun for the game. And this basically can fire 2 shells at once with the right mouse button. Even though the lower tube is supposed to be a magazine tube, not a shooting tube. I guess Valve got a bit confused or something, but yeah, little mistakes happen. The shotgun is especially useful for taking down the grunts, and also the Vortigaunts in Office Complex. And this is sort of useful because you'll get this early game in, Office Complex. So this is very useful. So of course, when you don't want to use the MP5, I would say if you need a good weapon other than MP5, since you think it's probably trash instead of me, I would kind of think that, then I would say the Spaz 12 kind of as a step up from that. So I'm going to put the Spaz 12 along with the MP5 in S tier. Very useful. Now for a crossbow. Now, I haven't reached the part where I get the crossbow, but this does fire. So of course, this is a sniper weapon, so it is silent, but it also has a scope, so you can pretty much snipe enemies. So I would say this is kind of useful for longer distances, but if you normally would use it regularly, this wouldn't necessarily help, since you only get 5 bolts. So this isn't exactly good, if I think so, but again, I haven't entirely beaten Half-Life 1 yet, so I'm really sorry about it. But anyway, I would mainly think it would be useful for the long distance shots, but you can use other weapons like the MP5 and Spaz 12, so that's sort of fine. So I'll put the crossbow in B tier. And now for one that kind of is useful, which is the RPG. So yeah, rocket-propelled grenade launcher. So the RPG basically shoots out missiles that are laser-guided, so whenever you're looking, so after you fire, wherever you're looking is where the rockets will go. Which can be extremely helpful. So when you don't want to just, have the rockets go at, enemy fire, and you want your rockets to be stopped, then rocket launcher's laser guide sort of helps. Though, as I said, I haven't gotten this weapon yet in my Half-Life 1 playthrough, so I'm not technically sure on its usefulness. But, yeah, this is kind of useful, so I would kind of want to use it, so I'm going to put it in A tier. Now for the Tau Cannon, this is said as a experimental energy rifle. So of course it is some type of rail energy gun. Of course it shoots out lasers. And you can also charge, so you can do a bit more damage. And of course this is kind of useful, I would assume. Especially the one on the buggy in Half-Life 2. So of course, mainly that one. But of course, it's kind of useful and does a fair amount of damage. So that kind of would be extremely useful, I would guess. But of course, I haven't used it very much. The only time I have used it is from Highway 17 and Half-Life 2. But of course, both Tau Cannons in both games, they are kind of the same. So I kind of think the Tau Cannon is kind of cool, in my opinion. So I would just kind of want to put it in... God, I don't know. But again, I haven't beaten Half-Life 1, so I think it kind of is a useful weapon. So I'll put it in A tier, I guess. Now for a Gluon gun. This is also sometimes known as the Egon gun. So this is described as the last weapon you run into during the game. So what I have known from mainly my skill in Half-Life Deathmatch, if I'm certain, is that it will shoot out a huge laser that you can deal enough damage to. And it doesn't really do as much damage as I initially expect, but I think it's just because those guys I was trying to kill had a lot more suit power, and it leads to my death in Half-Life Deathmatch. But of course, I don't typically think many people would play Deathmatch for whatever reason. But I mean, you know, people do sometimes, so I'm not gonna blame them. But yeah, we had the Gluon gun. Not useful items, so I mean, I'm not sure about its usefulness. It's again, I haven't reached in the actual Half-Life 1. I only used it in Half-Life Deathmatch, I guess, but I would kind of want to focus on its usefulness more. It says extremely damaging energy, even though it doesn't really do much. But I would say for Deathmatch, it would kind of be in B tier, I guess. That would kind of be my guess. And now for Hive Hand. This is sort of a oddity, even though it does go to, weapon slot 4, which are the heavy weapons. This is kind of a strange oddity. So, what this does is that it recharges ammo, but also the projectiles it shoots actually go toward the target. Of course, the tracking is kind of a bit buggy, since if you tried shooting around a corner, it won't work, I guess, but it doesn't even do as much damage, so I wouldn't necessarily say it would work. That just may be me playing Half-Life Source. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure. And of course, yes, I do play Half-Life Source because I mean, it's kind of fun, I guess. I mean, probably not fun for a lot of people, but with the fixed mod, it would make Half-Life Source a lot better, so I was kind of thinking about it. But maybe it's kind of that Half-Life Source Hive Hand's kind of buggy. That may just be me, but I would kind of think the Hive Hand is kind of a very bad item. I mean, I'm not sure why I would use it. But I mean, when I tried to cheat to use it just to see what happens, it wouldn't exactly work. Because I did try cheating just to try the Hive Hand, and yeah, it was kind of bad. Trust me, it was extremely bad, so don't use this one. It goes in D tier. Just don't use it. Now for hand grenades, which are the disposable weapons we got here. So first we got the so of course we have the hand grenades. It says damage is 100 at ground 0. So this is kind of useful for, you know, taking out enemies with explosives at a distance. And of course, if you have actually used grenades, I think I probably researched, I don't think I've researched this, but let's see. How long does it take for a grenade to explode? Let's see. Yeah, it says 2 to 6 seconds. So it takes about 2 to 6 seconds for actual grenades to explode. So yeah, you get 6 or 5 seconds. until it explodes. So, of course, honestly, even if it did explode, there was a slight chance that the enemy would run away. So you would sometimes need other methods, so... But yeah, honestly, if you need explosive for late game, this obviously isn't it. But for early game, I would say yes. If I'm kind of certain. So, I'm going to put the, okay, let's put the hand grenades in C tier, I guess. I mean, high hand, it is kind of trash, but the grenades aren't as trash, since they're kind of most useful in early game. None that matters. So next we got the satchel charges. That's what they're called, I guess. It says here, satchel charge. So you get so you have 5 charges, though when I tried to cheat Half-Life Source with the impulse command, which is, well, I'll type it in for you. Impulse 101. I only find that the max ammo for satchel charges is only 1. That may just be me when I tried it, but it says 5 charges, so I'm not quite sure why that happens. But it says they do have a bigger explosion than the grenades. Or maybe I've heard that, I don't know. It doesn't quite say that. But this is kind of useful in case you want to, you know, get enemies toward you with, you know, remote detonation. So I would kind of think this is useful. But again, for the last time, I haven't entirely beaten Half-Life 1, so my apologies for my lack of evidence. But yeah, I would think I would put the satchel charges in B tier. That would kind of be my thinking. Next, we got the laser trip mines. So these are kind of useful for when you want to also get enemies toward you, but you don't think you have any you know, satchel charges. But, of course, you can pick them up as weapons, but, again, just like the satchel charges, I've only seen them having only 1. I've only seen that I would only hold 1 Half-Life Source. Of course, that may just because I was trying to cheat, but maybe I'll try playing the game fair and I'll, you know, just see what happens. But, yeah, in case you want to get people toward you, laser mines and satchel charges are kind of good, so let's put this in B tier along with the, satchel charges. And now, last but certainly not least, we got the snarks, which are things you can throw, and they are enemies, so they can target you, but they can target everyone else. So, in case you want to be stealth, I guess, without people realizing you, then I would say the snarks are kind of actually useful. Also, they do explode after 20 seconds, so it kind of will help, I think. And yeah, this is kind of useful, I guess. I mean, this whole paragraph describes it. So, I would kind of put the snarks in about A tier. That would be my guess. Sort of. But yeah, that's where I would rank them. Now let's add in the next part. Oh wait, what's wrong button? Wait, the next part are my top picks. So here are top picks I would choose for where I am right now. So first is the MP5. The main automatic weapon in the game does a fair amount of damage. And yeah, this is very useful. Next, the shotgun. When you kind of need enough damage, but you want to get closer to your target because you're kind of the people who like close quarters. I don't know why you would, but fine then. And then number 3, the Magnum. Does a fair amount of damage, especially from strong enemies. So yeah, if you need a sidearm, Magnum is a good choice. But yeah, that's my Half-Life 1 weapon tier list. I'm pretty sure you liked it. And if you did, and you found it useful, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment on your opinions, and where you think you would want to put the ranks in. And if you want to try this tier list yourself and, you know, save or post it to TierMaker, which is the website, links in the description. Then and yeah, that's basically all I have